The official card from Lions. Everybody hear me? We good? Can we hear? All right. Some guys can't hear. Turn the hearing aid up. All right. I know about that. I'm getting old, so that's why I got to do this kind of stuff. But Larry Sutton, like I said, was the mainstay of Lions direction. That's where he got his signature black hat, cowboy hat. You can always recognize him. Him and Buster Couch are probably the two most fair guys on the starting line, and he didn't mess with either one of them because they ruled it as it should be. They called all the shots. Carl Olson, how about Carl Olson, huh? Right with the cool Olson popular dragster. You see it up here, they got the cool Olson front motor car here. He won it in the Virgin dragster in 1972, the last driver to get a win light at the legendary Lions dragster. And how about this guy, Danny Thompson, son of Nick Thompson. Our strange inheritance. I don't know if you saw that. I watched. I couldn't keep my eyes off it. It was a great story. Danny's got a great story. He's going to tell us some. Obviously related to Lions dragster. His dad was the first manager here, a legendary promoter, a legendary racer, and I'm sure he's got some good ones. And how about this guy, ladies and gentlemen, Tommy Ivo. The first real showman of drag racing. I mean, Jungle Jim and Don Force had nothing on it. This is the guy that started it all. Touring professional, never won a national event. It didn't matter. He was so popular, he didn't need to. He made more money on the match racer, and he was smarter than all of us. Steve Chrisman, ladies and gentlemen. He go way back. Obviously, his dad was legendary, Jack Chrisman. He was a great innovator in the sport. The first funny car, first real funny car in the line, and he made a lot of great race car parts, including myself, a lot of racers, including myself. Back in the day, we used a lot of those parts, and Steve continues in that. He still has a copy of the track that he runs, but he just does it so that he can get chips. So, and speaking of getting chips, how about this? Ed Iskenderian. Talk about a legend. Ed is going to be 98 years old next month. Sharp as a tack. I mean, he's got more than all of us put together, but we're going to start out with this. And I'll tell you what, I had gone last year to the Wednesday would be one of the national revivals. And I was interviewing a number of drivers up there. I don't know if anybody was up there. But Garlis came in, and Iskey was late. Garlis was there talking. Next thing you know, Garlis and Iskey started talking. And when that happened, you know, you just hand it like John Force. You just hand him like and let him go. And the best part of the story, I mean, they told all kinds of stories, but one I remember the most was when Don Garlis was part of his first Iskey camp back in 1958 or whatever it was. And he says, yeah, I remember that. I sold that can to you and just told him what it was. He says, yeah, Garlis says, yeah, I got the receipt for it. It was $158. And Iskey says, you know, but back then, if you ran the deep try, you got it free. You sent me the check. I just took the cash the check. So when the thing was all said and done, I said, you know, the best part of that story was the fact that Iskey asked me to shoot the car, $3 out of $158. Because nobody shoot Garlis out of money, but Iskey did. And you know, I think we got to set up your own mic because the other ones aren't working. So
this is not working.
No, that one's not working. So use that one.
Okay.
Is that one working?
Yeah, I guess so.
There you go. Yeah. We can hear you.
All right. Well, I sure appreciate being part of this sport. I've been accepted somehow. So you know that this sport, as big as it is today, this sport or hobby. But in when I was 13 years old in 1934, and there couldn't have been more than 100 people interested in this sport at that time. What was the sport? Well, a Model T, you take a Roadster or a Whippet or a Chevy or a Buick or and you strip all the fenders and bumpers off to make it lighter, and you cruise the highways, and you join a club sometime or hang out with guys that do belong to a club. The clubs were road runners, gear grinders, and in my neighborhood, 2 guys from the Bungholders Club and I hung out with them and learned from them. See, I learned from the older guys because there was nothing to read. And you'd go visit their garage and see what they're building up, a little hot rod or go job. So that's the way we learned. And then we learned the mechanics just by trial and error and mistakes and things. So it was couldn't have been 100 people interested in this thing. Who knew that everybody was looking for a new hobby, but they didn't know what it was? It was cars, modified cars, and changed over cars.
You know, and I think when they first opened the track here in 1955, we found out just how many people were interested. Were you here that day when they opened it in 1955? I know you were out here a lot.
What, Lions, you mean?
Exactly, yes.
Oh, yeah, that was great, yeah.
I mean, they knocked the fence down, you know, and people were just coming in, officers weren't paying, you know, and you know, which just kind of fit hand in hand. There's no reason to ever pay. I remember my dad, we had a truck and with a camper shell, and he put plywood over the top of the mattresses, and we all had under there so we didn't have to pay the entry to get into the bed. So, you know, not as great as pay either. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
That's it. Well, I met some of the nicest guys, and later on I kind of helped guys or sponsored guys with cams, and some of them were so nice they were offered money from other cam grinders, and they didn't take it. They didn't take it. And some of them are right here. They were faithful, yeah. So I was mighty lucky to get into this. And
well, I think we're lucky to have you. I mean,
well, thank you.
It's great, and I'll tell you what, one of the honors for me was a few years ago, I think it was in 2015, my last year with ESPN, we did a Top Gas benefit out in Ontario, California. And all the old Top Gas drivers got in and told stories. I sat down, Iskey came down and sat next to me, and he says, "Hey, Mike Dunn." And I'll tell you what, I was so impressed that Iskey wouldn't even know who the heck I was.
I'll be darned.
I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy, that's what I'm saying.
Well, I remember when Mickey Thompson, Dan's dad here, came to see me. I was so flattered that he came to see me. And he's going to have 4 Pontiac engines and 2 spares. He'll need.
Were you doing the
now he's
6 camshafts he needed?
Yeah. Now he's already gone almost 300 with a 2-engine car at Bonneville.
Yeah.
And they were going to go from Bonneville to the national drag races in Indianapolis. And Fritz Voigt says, "We can't top this. Let's just go home." And I didn't know it, but Mickey was offered from the tire company, if he could go 300 or nearly 300, we'll make you tires for 400. So he came to see me, and I was flattered. And I have to pay Fritz Voigt to build 6 engines at $250 a piece. That was cheap. And he needs 6 cams and kits, roller cams for the Pontiacs, 4 fuel injections, 4 magnetos from Joe Hunt. I have to furnish this stuff.
What was the bill for that?
About $3,000, but he was so enthusiastic, you just couldn't turn him down. And besides, his mechanic was going to be Fritz Voigt. Wow. I used to admire him at Lions because every time there was no one on the line ready to run, Fritz was there and would make 25 runs a night. So that sealed the deal. And we were always surprised, and he did, and I exploited him to the hilt and even knighted him, and I didn't get in trouble with the Queen in England about doing that. I got away with it. Thank you.
All right, Iskey, thank you. How about that? Ed Iskenderian. You know, he screwed Darts out $158 and he didn't get in trouble with the Queen. I mean, how can you get better than that? All right, next up, Steve Chrisman. His dad, Jack Chrisman's done a lot in this sport. Steve's carrying on that. Steve and I go back a long way. He used to get in trouble. And I had a lot of talks with his dad. When I used to go down to the shop and get parts, and his dad would tell me, all the stories, and his mom, Dee, would sit there and tell how, they'd take the kids. Steve was an ornery little fart, he said. But what he would do, and he wouldn't go to sleep, so he'd get him in the car, and he'd just go take it, probably one of the Fords that had a little bit of a camshaft in it, so it would rock him. He said, I just drive around the block and he'd go to sleep like all of us did. And he was, your dad just worshipped you and your sister, and he loved drag racing. So tell us a little bit about your life growing up in Lyons.
Yeah, growing up in Lyons, it's like your backyard. Because I was born in '54, Lyons opened in '55, so I'm sure I was there at the first race. But it's when you see what Rick Lorenzen did here, it brings a tear to your ear, up to your eye. Because when you look at it, you go, damn, this is Lyons Drag Strip. I mean, you had that feeling of it. And we remember sitting on the old oiled down telephone poles down there, about half track on, and when they had the push out road, you'd push down there, and then you'd see everybody come out. And I used to be on the back of my dad's truck when they fired the Howard Cam car up with the sidewinders, and you'd go down there and they'd turn around and warm the cars up, and it's unbelievable. But now what you do, I mean, you don't even follow drag racing hardly, and I even do it, I don't hardly follow it. But those guys back there, I mean, they lived it. I mean, blood, sweat, and tears is what it was about drag racing. He's always racing your buddies and help everybody out, and it was the greatest time of my life. Probably from '65 to '70, it was the heyday of drag racing as far as I'm concerned.
I want to tell you a story about that my dad told me. I don't know if this is true, but I want to ask you. Steve and I have been friends forever, and we talked.
No, we've known each other forever.
Well, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, Tommy Ivo. No, but seriously, my dad used to tell a story, and I don't remember this. He said, the kid was talking about me, was always pretty, he was always good, you never got in trouble. I said, I would have got my ass whooped if I did. He said, one time at Lyons Drag Strip, he and that little Stevie Chrisman took somebody's tire that was laying next to the trailer, and they stole and rolled them off in the field and was playing with it. I said, I don't remember that. I said, what happened? Did you whip my ass? He said, no. He said, I told you. I said, that little Stevie Chrisman, I knew he got you in trouble. I said, that boy needed an ass whoop. Now, I know his dad didn't whoop his ass, but my dad didn't say that he really needed it. He just said that to remind me, if you do that again, you are going to get an ass whooping. So, that never happened.
No, your dad's too sweet to ever beat on you. Big Jim Dunn is a sweetheart.
Back in the day, Lyons, obviously, who was your dad's toughest competitor back then?
The best driver my dad said ever was Leonard Harris.
I've heard that.
Leonard Harris.
Yeah.
I heard that too.
Yeah, I mean, my dad respected Perdomo and Danny Ongaias are right up there. He goes, but Leonard Harris was the guy. He's a machine. He was in awe of Leonard Harris.
And Leonard lost his life in Lyons, what, 1959?
Yeah, 59 or 60.
It might have been 60.
Yeah, because what had happened is my dad was driving Mickey Thompson's car and the Howard Cam car, and then everybody drove 3 or 4 cars on the weekend. And the car that Leonard Harris drove, my dad drove it to run before Leonard got in it. And he went down the racetrack and he said, hey, when I shut off, the thing really moved over. And so then he told Leonard, I heard you're going to drive the car, be careful because the thing moves around down there. He goes, okay, Jack. And down the next run, he didn't crash. I mean, I broke my dad's heart.
Yeah, I often heard that Leonard Harris was one, but your dad was a damn good racer too, right?
Yeah, him and my cousin Art. Yeah, those are 2 good drivers, right? And great guys.
What happened to you?
Well, it skips a generation, just like your dad said. My favorite. Yeah, my favorite, Mike Dunn. To show you how good a driver Mike Dunn was, I had an alcohol funny car. I drove for a couple years. My first funny car I had, it was my favorite car. And then so what happens, I started driving for Steve Kluger's nitro car, so I parked my little black Omni, which I loved. And then Roland Leong, because Mike had crashed a car, of course, a couple weeks earlier. And so Roland needed a car. So I sold him my car, and I go, good luck. And every time we'd run it, I'd, make sure it was okay. And then they went to Orange County, and that's where Mike Dunn, the famous, blew the crankshaft out the bottom and ran over the crankshaft and flipped and all that stuff. And I ran down there because I just made a run on Plugger's car. I ran down there and I said, is it okay? He goes, yeah, Mike's okay. I said, no, my car. And he goes, no, the car's destroyed. And Mike's okay. I go, okay, whatever.
I'm proud of it. And Roll would just look down there and say, what happened to my car?
Yeah.
It was fine when I was starting line. I don't know, just roll with that crankshaft. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Steve Chrisman. Well, they told us we have to finish in an hour. And I told the producers, I said, each one of us is probably talking in an hour. And we've got 7 people up here 95. So, without further ado, here we have TV Tommy Ivo, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, boy, I'm telling you, Long Beach, does that bring back some memories. I drove down there the first time I ran Long Beach. I drove down there in my Model T Street Roadster, took top eliminator, and drove it back home again. Does that tell you that was a little while ago? But it was a bad street roadster. It had a big motor in it and 6 carburetors on it. The way I had the front end set up on it, it had a 25% setback, so it was like running a competition roadster. And with that little T body on it, and then of course only half a driver in it, I weighed 115 pounds. I used to have to go to the boys department to buy my pants because they only went down to 28. But they kept protesting me on the car and putting it out of class. So I thought, okay, well, you want something that's legal. I took an old sprint car body, and it was yellow and it had been banged from every direction, and put it onto a frame. Took and put big, tall antennas on it with foxtails on the end of them. They used to lean over in the lights and go round like that when we went through the lights. Mud flaps. I took my dad's